Good afternoon, folks. It's your friend Daily coming into you daily. It's Kimberly Jessica. It feels like a Monday today for some reason, guys. It's like I feel like I'm just waking up from the weekend when the weekend actually just finished up 2 days ago. I hope you guys had a great day and you guys were safe, and we're going to be talking to someone today that I'm excited to be talking to. Because there's so much going on behind the scenes in terms of in the cannabis world and what the laws are, the rules are, and just the amazing products that are coming out in the cannabis world, whether it's edibles, whether it's stuff to, heal, being the new icy hot, but it's cannabis hot, whether it's CBD oil or THC. It's just a world that I never got into before. I knew cannabis from, the 80s and the 70s and the 90s where, it was like you're not supposed to have that. And I know like a lot of friends that I had when I was in school like got in trouble for cannabis. It's like today, there's so many benefits that are revealed from having cannabis and being in the cannabis industry. This is a hot topic, and I'm just super excited because I happen to be at an event, and I'm really mad because I didn't walk away with the gold, but I'm really excited that I got to see just the magical places that cannabis is getting buzz around, and just seeing just the generosity and just having a better understanding of cannabis. And today we're going to be talking to the CEO of a group called Bud Trader. That's Budtrader. His name is Brad, and we're going to learn a lot from Brad today. Brad, are you there?
I'm here. Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Oh, Brad, the pleasure is all mine. Trust me. So, how are you doing today, Brad? What's new in your world?
I was just at the National Cannabis Industry Association seminar in Anaheim, California. It's kind of a business-to-business cannabis trade show, but it's one of the largest. Just got an opportunity to talk to some other cannabis business owners and talk about new products that are coming soon and, new technology that's coming out in the industry as well. So it's kind of, it's almost like cannabis Christmas for me because you get to see all the stuff coming soon,
Oh, my goodness. Can you share with us some of the stuff that's coming and some of the stuff that Bud Trader's getting involved in and what they're doing, what you guys are doing?
Well, one new thing that Bud Trader's working on, because our company is an online platform, it's similar to Craigslist or LinkedIn for the cannabis industry where people can kind of connect and, post ads for, their products or their services or whatever. So, over 2 million people use our platform now and, to get their cannabis information. So one of the things that we added, we've always felt like there's a big connection between video games and cannabis. We go to Comic-Con and get a booth or an activation every year because, we're all cannabis enthusiasts and video game enthusiasts at Bud Trader. So we're actually working on the Bud Trader Arcade, and that's going to be a digital platform. Yeah, so it's going to be a digital platform connected to Bud Trader, and it's going to be a cool place. We're going to have over 60,000 different games that you can play. It's all going to be free. You don't have to pay.
So wait a minute. You're going to have cannabis, plus you're putting up a video game arcade type place with cannabis involved? Is that what you're telling me?
Correct. It's going to be called the Bud Trader Arcade, and you can actually challenge your friends from to play in a game or something, wherever they live, and we're going to have high scores and, see who gets the best scores on these different games. And it's kind of cool because we're going to keep adding more and more games as we go. But we have all the old school kind of arcade games that are going to be on there. And so that's kind of
course, you got to have Pac-Man and Donkey Kong. Just tell me you have those two. We're friends for life.
We got Pac-Man, we got Donkey Kong, we got Sonic the Hedgehog, Mario Brothers. Yeah, all the great, games from when we were kids.
Yeah, I'm a Pac-Man junkie. That Pac-Man came out when I was a kid, right? Like, I would come out of school, and we would go to the local pizza shop, and they would have the giant arcade in there, and I would waste all my money as well as all my friends' money just to play Pac-Man. Like seriously, Pac-Man was the thing to do. So now you're telling me that you have the Butt Trader Arcade, or what is it called? Is it Butt Trader Arcade or is it Butt Trader?
It's going to be the Butt Trader Arcade, but people will be able to find it just by going to butttrader.com. There'll be a link there to play games, and it's interesting because, like, two things I know for sure, or two things that I've learned for sure being in the cannabis industry, is there's definitely a connection between cannabis and music. We see that with some of the music festivals, the
Hell yeah, there's a big connection. I could go into some specific connections, but I don't want to offend anyone, so I'll leave that there. But there's also a connection with cannabis and meditating. What do you say to that, Greg?
I know that cannabis is used in meditation. Now I know that it's also kind of starting to be used in psychiatrists and like psychologist offices as well. Like they're experimenting with using cannabis with people that suffer from PTSD, where they'll kind of medicate with cannabis, and then they'll kind of talk through some of their issues or whatever's causing the PTSD, and something to do with like the receptors in the brain. It rewires their brain to not associate that traumatic event as like a negative thing anymore. And so it's interesting, just all the new applications and things we're seeing that cannabis can do. Another something I saw today at the NCIA cannabis conference was it's actually a chewing gum. It's going to be a low dose THC CBD chewing gum, but it's going to be primarily for fibromyalgia patients that suffer from that horrible disease. It causes pain and uncomfort for the people affected by it. So it's interesting since it's a new alternative to pharmaceutical drugs. It's a chewing gum. It's fast acting. So I'm excited to see all the new kind of health and wellness applications for cannabis, and especially when you have people that are suffering from these diseases, they can find relief other than through pharmaceutical drugs, which don't always help. Sometimes they hurt more than they help. I mean, I'm not saying that every pharmaceutical drug is harmful. I'm just saying that some of them, the side effects sometimes outweigh the benefits. So I always try to recommend, if anybody can swap out pharmaceuticals for cannabis or for CBD, I mean, I think that's definitely a good thing.
Well, you preach it to the choir, and I love everything you have to say. Number one, I'm a veteran. There's three things that come in that I'm listening to this, and the PTSD part, kudos to you for thinking of us, because that is something that it is even hard for me to even hear the 4th of July firecrackers. That is such one of the most difficult nights of my life, because it's like, wow, just it's like hearing explosions and gunfire, literally. Oh, and it comes like out of the blue, especially to like the days leading up to it. So, I love the fact that you guys, care about, the psychiatric aspect of it. I also have a master's in education. I was a psychotherapist, and, the majority of times, my clients only got, healing, or not even healing, but just some sort of releases if they had their Citalopram or any of the psychotropic drugs. But a lot of times the side effects are just bananas, whether it's like death, suicidal idiocy, want to pee on yourself, poop on yourself. Like the side effects were unbelievable. So I really am interested to know more, and closely watch how this could literally help someone. And you're talking rewiring of the brain. And then on top of it, I come from an era where I was also a high school teacher where they were like, oh, weed's bad. And now we're getting, so many people that I knew and just remembered, that were butt guys in school. They went away to jail. And it was like, dude, you went to jail for weed? It was like, seriously? So it's like, talking to you is like a breath of fresh air. Literally, because not only are you sharing these amazing products and what they're used for, but you're talking about saving people's lives. And it just brings back to the song, How to Save a Life. Like, that's huge, Brad.
Well, and I'm glad you brought up first, as a veteran, thank you for your service. I think so often people don't recognize the major sacrifices that, veterans make for us.
We never get over it. we never get over it. We never forget. We literally, it's almost like we're stuck in that time. And we feel alive when we're able to talk to friends from that time. But it's almost like I feel like a time stop has stopped in that time where there's a part of me that's like still yearning for that life. I don't mean to sound weird, but that's, having something like what you're offering sounds very helpful, Brad.
Well, and, I come from a military family. I didn't serve, because they actually found out I was hypoglycemic during the physical, but I was all ready to, serve and be all that I could be, and it didn't work out because I always just thought if I don't eat for a few hours, I get a little cranky, So if I have to, I just figured they'd send me out with some trail mix or a granola bar or something, but it unfortunately disqualified me. But one thing that I've learned about the military is that there's kind of like a standard operating procedure for every single situation and every single kind of an event, except for when veterans come home and their service is done, what to do when it comes to PTSD or anxiety or mental health issues, and it's veterans are kind of conditioned to be tough and to be soldiers and to be invincible, but they're people. I mean, like you and I, and they have feelings and they have emotions, and they're put in these tough, impossible situations, and it's unfair, but I recently was in my point was I was in Washington D.C. Last month, and I was invited out there by lawmakers, members of Congress, to speak to our elected officials to talk about cannabis reform, to educate them, and somewhat convince them, that cannabis reform at the federal level is a good thing. And we talked about a number of different issues, but veterans having safe access to cannabis legally, at the federal level was an issue that came up on multiple times in my meetings out there. And it's an important issue for lawmakers. It's an important issue for, the current administration. I feel like, pretty much everybody I spoke to felt like, our honored veterans should have safe legal access to medical cannabis, under a doctor's care for pain, for PTSD, for stress, anxiety, anything else that it could help with. And, I think it's wrong to deny it to our honored veterans. And it's, I feel like changes are coming at the federal level when it comes to cannabis legalization. There's some promises that have been made that, after this midterm election sometime in the spring of 2019, that some changes, hopefully are coming. So that's something that's, important to me as well, is to see, veterans have safe access to cannabis. I think if it can help, if it can, prevent veterans from hurting themselves or committing suicide, I mean, I think that's a great thing,
What brought you into the cannabis world, Brad? We inquiring listeners want to know. They're typing me in here. What brought you into the cannabis industry?
Well, I'm a software engineer and computer scientist by trade, just a big nerd, a tech nerd. And, some of the things that influenced me was, Occupy Wall Street, when the world almost melted down in 2008, and just, how possibly through technology, we can solve some of these issues like banking and, maybe with blockchain or cryptocurrencies, which is a different topic of conversation. But every, software engineer, computer scientist I've ever met, like, it's a cannabis enthusiast or a cannabis patient. And I think it's just the way that our minds work. There's just a lot going on up there. Sometimes there's way too much going on up there. So, cannabis, at least for me, it helps with staying focused, attention deficit disorder, things like that. So, like, there was a lot of guys that were in tech that were also cannabis enthusiasts or advocates, but it was too soon. They were in we call it the cannabis closet. This is 2013, 2014, 2015. I've always just shared my experience with cannabis and tried to advocate for it and educate people, because I always felt like the truth is, way more interesting than anything else. So, I was never shy about my cannabis use, or I never hid it from anybody. But, in 2014, 2015, the guys that I worked with, we were a software and mobile app firm, just kind of developing different software programs and mobile apps, for business owners or making games or whatever. We had a discussion one day and we said, we really wanted to get into cannabis. We felt like if we could create a platform using technology to kind of connect the cannabis industry, to connect people like ourselves with other cannabis enthusiasts or patients or advocates or whatever, that we could get organized and maybe we could make change and we could bring some structure to an industry that never really had structure, because we were kind of boldly going where no one had ever gone before. So we came up with this concept for Bud Trader where it could kind of become, initially like an Alibaba or a Craigslist for the cannabis industry,
or AliExpress,
right? Or even like one of the more popular categories on Bud Trader is like the jobs section or the services section. So it kind of became a place to connect maybe service providers or distributors or cannabis attorneys or cannabis accountants with cannabis business owners. So we kind of set out to connect the cannabis community or the cannabis industry. And then, we rolled out Bud Trader in the summer of 2016. And then after the elections in November, when we went from, 5 cannabis states to whatever it was, 28 or 29, we saw this explosion of, traffic and registered users on Bud Trader. And it's all organic because you can't do paid advertisements or Google advertisements or anything like that if you have a cannabis business. They won't let you advertise. So it was one of those things where we went viral, kind of overnight. I mean, we would see 30,000 new registered users, 40,000 some days, and it was exciting as a software engineer or developer because we had probably built 1,000 software programs or mobile apps or websites or e-commerce sites, and most of them didn't become anything. And it's kind of like, it's unfortunate, or it's kind of like one of the bummers of being a developer, is because you want people to like what you create or see value in it or use it, because then you built something that helps people and people think it's awesome, and it feels good. So to go through 1,000 sales to get to like a Bud Trader where now we have over 2 million registered users, we're largely considered the biggest cannabis technology platform in the world. It's just it's exciting, kind of from that standpoint. So that's kind of the path that brought my development team and I into the cannabis industry. And one of the things we talked about too is we're gonna stay a technology company. So before we started Bud Trader, we were a technology company. After we started Bud Trader, we wanted to still be a technology company, focus on the technology, focus on coming out with new, technological breakthroughs for the cannabis industry. Bud Trader Arcade isn't, the greatest technology breakthrough ever. I mean, yeah, we get to play, video games for free, but I mean, that was the company culture we wanted to be, and we never wanted to become like a cannabis lifestyle brand or, a brand where, people partying or just, smoking all the time or whatever. So it's we've kept that kind of company culture. We're a technology company. We're, in the cannabis space, and we're cannabis advocates, cannabis enthusiasts, cannabis patients in the cannabis space.
Wow, you are a genius. That's what I'm going to say. You are a genius. Just looking at the numbers and, the users and, now you're adding, it's like an adult dream life of being somewhat a kid forever, where you're not judged for loving video games, and you get to feel great at the same time. So that's you're a genius. That's all I'm going to say to you, Brad, is you're an exceptional genius.
Well, I appreciate that. I don't, I think it was more, it's proof that there was a need in the market for some kind of a platform to kind of connect the cannabis community. And then I think it helped bring some people out of the shadows too. And then, with these states coming online, with this movement, we call it the green rush. It's kind of like the gold rush, but instead of, trying to mine gold or pan for gold, everybody's trying to grow green, or make green off of the cannabis industry. So as these states come online, or as these countries like Canada, approve legalization on, at the federal level, we just keep seeing more and more, people using the platform, connecting. People are more likely to admit now that they're, cannabis patient or cannabis enthusiast. And it seems like even, people that maybe had never tried cannabis before, that, for whatever reason, reefer madness, they never wanted to try it. They thought it was, a harmful drug, or are kind of starting to consider it, as a, treatment method, or consider it to help them to relax or to sleep or whatever, medical condition they're trying to alleviate. So it's exciting, and it's just, I feel like we have a lot of momentum on our side. I feel like history is kind of on our side, and, I just can't wait to see what happens next. People ask me all the time what I think is going to happen, but one thing I can say with 100% certainty is, like, we're not going back. Like, there's no way that anything will ever get repealed or changed or whatever. I mean, it's onward.
This is a wrap. It's here to stay. Yeah.
It's a wrap. I mean, I one of my favorite movies is Searching for Bobby Fischer. It came out, I don't know, when I was a kid, but he, at the end of the movie, tells the kid he's playing against in chess, he's like, hey, it's over. Like, it's 10 or 11 moves away. I can see it. You can't, but, this match is over. And it's like, I don't want to jinx us, but, I mean, it's over. It's just a matter of time before the entire country, has some form of legal cannabis. A lot of these states, even super conservative states like Utah, Oklahoma, Texas are coming around. I mean, we'll see Utah with legal cannabis probably here, in these midterms. I think Texas, and, even though it's a very conservative state, I mean, I feel like they're just going to come around and it's something where, we'll probably see some changes in the great state of Texas as well. So, hopefully, we're thinking or anticipating 5 or 6 states will probably vote to legalize cannabis, next month, during the midterm elections. And then I think that before the end of 2020, we might have the entire country on board, or, at least federal legalization of medical cannabis or medical use at the federal level. I feel like that's coming soon too as well.
Wow, and your business. That's another thing. I'm listening to you, and I'm like, wow, you literally know your business. You know your business when it comes to, the legal aspects of things, and you have access to bud that is organic and healthy and all of the above. So what would you like people to know about you and how to get in touch with you and what's coming up next? That's 3 questions, but, that's like my mind is racing. So it's like, what would you like people to know about you or your company?
Bud Trader, I mean, our intentions have always been pure. I mean, our platform, our site, it's free to use. As long as you're over the age of 21, you can register, you can use our platform, and it's always been a free platform, and it'll continue to be free. And, oftentimes people have said, if you guys charge money, you could make so much more, you could be rich and this and that. And it's, we consistently don't do that, because it's not about trying to profit on making the world a better place or helping people. It's about, this movement and about this plan. I mean, I truly believe that if cannabis was legalized in the entire United States within 5 years, the cannabis community could save the world. This plant can literally solve every problem that we have. I mean, it can take carbon out of, our air. It can take toxins out of the soil. It can feed you. It can clothe you. It can be used as a fuel source. I mean, the first automobiles ran on hemp oil. They didn't even run on gas initially. So, I mean, it's kind of a cannabis hemp fun fact. So, I mean, we're not going to stop until we save the world. Bud Trader, the cannabis community, I mean, and, one of the misconceptions is that the cannabis community is filled with, these stoners, these potheads. I mean, very smart, very talented people that are, getting into the cannabis industry or getting in on the green rush, and it's because they want to own a cannabis business or create a product or service in the cannabis industry, because it's exciting, the green rush has started, but also, because they kind of want to give back and do good and kind of further this movement. So, we're going to keep pushing and keep fighting. And, I've been invited to speak to our lawmakers, a few times now, and, possibly go back again at the end of this month, and I'll keep fighting for us and pushing for us. And, hopefully together, we can all save the world, with this plan.
Wow, talking about saving the world. That's awesome. How can we get in, how can we purchase the product? Did you just go to budtrader.com and pick your state? How does that work, Brad?
Yeah, so if you go to budtrader.com, you can go to any state, in the United States that has some form of legal cannabis. We have BudTrader Canada now on there as well, BudTrader Puerto Rico. So, but BudTrader Mexico coming soon, because they have medical cannabis is legal in Mexico now, and they're pushing for recreational cannabis or adult use cannabis, hopefully in the next 12 to 18 months. So, we keep adding more states and more countries as they come online. And, you go to budtrader.com, you pick either your country or your state, and then, start looking at ads or connecting with people or reading news stories or playing video games, whatever you want to do,
Wow, that's amazing. Now, any cannabis seller can basically go to the site and sign up and start and get their own shop and be a part of the listing. Is that how it works, Brad?
Yeah, so you can register and create a profile and, put information, on there, or, that way if you want to connect with other people in the industry, you can, or, there's a job section or a resume section. So if you want to, find a job in the cannabis industry, if you're tired of, if you're tired of, whatever job you're in now and it's not working out for you, I mean, look into, getting a job in the cannabis industry. I mean, we have a job section in every, city and every state, that has some form of legal cannabis. So it's a great time too, because I mean, every cannabis brand is hiring right now.
Oh my gosh, I got to tell my buddies.
And it's exciting because, I mean, every day there's new cannabis brands and cannabis companies that are being started, and new and exciting and different and creative products that are being created. And it's just, every cannabis company, ours included, is always looking for new, talented individuals, looking for a new opportunity. So, it's something there as well. People want to get involved or get into the green rush or get a job in the cannabis industry or maybe start a business. I mean, you can do all of that at BudTrader. There's an event section now too. So, it's not all just the high times, outdoor music festivals and stuff like that. I mean, there's networking events, there's business events, there's, events like the one I went to today, the NCIA, National Cannabis Association, conferences where they have speakers and they have panels, and, you can really learn a lot, and so I highly encourage or highly suggest that anybody that's interested in, cannabis or getting into the cannabis industry, definitely.
My God, wow.
You're
amazing.
Jump right in and, I appreciate it. I think.
You have no idea. I mean, I'm literally sitting here in front of all my military paperwork, filling out for my benefits for PTSD and stuff, and it's like, here I am talking to you. Literally, if I sent you a snapshot of what I'm doing right now, you'd be like, wow, this is like synchronicity like crazy. Seriously.
Well, one of the suggestions that we made, too, when we went back to Washington, D.C. and talked to lawmakers was if medical cannabis happens at the federal level, allowing cannabis businesses or cannabis brands to be able to get things like, small business loans or SBA loans or government grants or research grants. And, one of the ideas that was floated around was that, veterans would get preferential treatment or extra consideration, or companies that hire veterans would get extra consideration or have a better chance at some of those SBA loans. So, hopefully once some of these changes happen, it's good for everyone, but it's good for veterans too. And, there's a lot of veterans that are in the cannabis industry. Veterans own, cannabis brands or cannabis businesses, and, they're running great businesses. They're doing great things and, building great brands and making money at the same time. And, it'd be great to see more veterans getting involved, getting into cannabis.
Well, you know what? I have some buddies that are bud and cannabis enthusiasts, and basically what would they do? They just go to your site and pick California and then put in for a job that way. Is that how that works, Brett?
Yeah, there's different categories. So there's like there's a job section so they can see all the new job openings. There's a resume section where they can upload their resume. That way, companies that are looking to hire people can get their information. But if they're looking for, a good dispensary in their area, we have a dispensary section too. I mean, if they're looking for a delivery service, that'll, deliver cannabis to their home, in states that permit it, we have those on the site as well. So it's, pretty much everything cannabis, it's on the site now, anything that you would need. It's on Bud Trader.
Wow.
It's always exciting to see what people come up with next, so there's always new and different products on the site.
Wow, this is amazing, Brad. I just want to thank you again for caring about us veterans, and thank you and your family for serving. I'm a military baby as well. And I come from a military family as well as I was in the military. And I just want to, again, thank you for caring about us. Thank you for taking the time to be on the show with us today. If you want to just, basically just tell our viewers again and the listeners, because they come to the site and comment too on iHeart, how we can get in touch with you, how we can buy your product, and then we'll break for commercial.
Absolutely, yeah. Feel free to visit budtrader.com. It's the largest cannabis platform in the world. You can get a hold of me on Instagram at Real Brad McLaughlin. That's my Instagram handle. And then, look forward to connecting with, everybody in the cannabis community, and look forward to seeing you again at, hopefully at another gift lounge or, somewhere here in Los Angeles, and, keep trying to advocate and save the world with cannabis.
Well, Brad, thank you again so much for just being with us today on iHeartRadio. I went ahead and followed you, by the way, just now on Instagram. I just want to thank you so much for just, being with us today. And, guys, I saw what they have, guys. You guys it's like a dream come true, literally. They have good stuff, guys, and I saw it firsthand, and I'm excited about it, and I'm looking to, do more interviews with you, Brad, and do some work with you as well. So, guys, thank you so much for listening in today on iHeartRadio, WKIM FM 61.1, The Beat in Los Angeles. We just interviewed the real Brad McLaughlin today on iHeartRadio, founder and CEO of BudTrader.com. His items are to die for, and I mean that with all my heart. Now, I'm not going to go die. Let's not, get literal about it. But, from a practical purpose of just like, dude, you got to go get it. I'm telling you. And I'm one of these people, and I'm just going to say it. I was a teacher. I told my kids, stay away from bud. I was one of those advocates, no. And here I am today telling you I was wrong. I was misinformed. Listen to what this guy says. You're taking it from a mom, a teacher, somebody that totally gets it. Listen to what Brad said, because he's the real deal. And Brad, I know I'm going to be seeing your name in lights more. I'm just excited about what you're doing and who you are.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me on your show. I love it. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. The pleasure's all ours. Guys, we're going to run to a commercial break. We'll be right back. We just interviewed with Bud Trader's founder and CEO, Brad McLaughlin. If you go to budtrader.com, you'll be able to see what he has to offer and make your purchase there. We'll be right back.